Welcome, everyone, to a truly monumental edition of our tennis coverage. Today, we are standing on the precipice of history, looking ahead to a moment that will forever alter the landscape of international sports. If you follow the world of tennis, you already know that there is an undeniable electric energy pulsating through the air as we approach the hallowed grounds of the All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club, Wimbledon. The name alone evokes images of pristine green lawns, the stark contrast of the strict all-white dress code, the royal box, and the unmistakable sound of a tennis ball cutting to the quiet, tense atmosphere of center court. It is the oldest and arguably the most prestigious tennis tournament in the world. For generations, players have dreamed of simply stepping onto those grass courts, let alone making a deep run. But today, we are not just talking about a player hoping to make an appearance. We are talking about a 21-year-old phenom who has completely shattered the glass ceiling for her country and the entire Southeast Asian region. Alexandra Alex, Eala has officially made history by becoming the very first Filipina ever to receive a seeding in a Grand Slam singles tournament. She will enter the 2026 Wimbledon Championships as a 29th seed, a staggering achievement that has sent shockwaves through the tennis community and ignited an unprecedented wave of national pride across the Philippines. To truly understand the gravity of this news, we have to look at what it means to be seated at a Grand Slam. In a main draw of 128 players, only the top 32 are awarded a seed. Earning a number next to your name on that draw sheet is the ultimate badge of honor. It is a declaration by the tennis world that you are no longer an underdog, no longer a dark horse, but a legitimate, proven contender. Tactically, it is a game changer. Being a seeded player guarantees that you will not face another top 32 player in the first two rounds of the tournament. It provides a crucial buffer, a runway to find your rhythm, adjust to the blinding speed of the grass, and build momentum before the brutal heavyweight clashes of the second week. For Alex Eala, this seeding is a culmination of a breathtaking, meteoric rise to the rankings, fueled by a sensational grass court season that has left fans, analysts, and fellow players in absolute awe. Over the past few weeks, Eala has been an unstoppable force on the grass. She captured her first professional title on this surface at the WTA 125 Birmingham Open, defeating Nikola Bardunkova in a grueling, fiercely contested final. But she did not stop there. She marched into the WTA 500 Berlin Open and delivered what is undoubtedly the defining performance of her young career. On the iconic Steffi Graf Stadium, Eala orchestrated a jaw-dropping, straight sets demolition of the world number 2 and former Wimbledon champion, Elena Rybakina. Eala came back from a 4-1 deficit in the first set, showcasing a level of mental fortitude and tactical brilliance that left the tennis world speechless. And if her singles accolades were not enough to break the internet, it was just announced that at her final pre-Wimbledon tune-up in Bad Homburg, she is teaming up in the doubles draw with absolute tennis royalty, the legendary multi-time Wimbledon champion Venus Williams. A 21-year-old rising star from the Philippines sharing the court with one of the greatest grass court players to ever swing a racket. The storylines are endless. The momentum is entirely in her favor, and the stage is set for a historic fortnight in London. So, settle in, because in this exclusive deep dive, we're going to unpack every single layer of Alex Eala's grand arrival, analyzing her remarkable journey, her tactical evolution on grass, the cultural impact of her achievements, and exactly what we can expect from her as she takes her rightful place among the elite at the 2026 Wimbledon Championships. To fully appreciate the magnitude of Alexandra Eala's current standing in the tennis world, we must first dive deep into the historical context of her achievement. The Philippines is a nation with a rich, vibrant sporting culture, but is a culture historically dominated by basketball, boxing, and billiards. Tennis has always had a passionate but niche following. Producing a world-class, top-tier professional tennis player requires an immense confluence of resources, elite coaching, relentless international travel, and infrastructure that is exceedingly rare in Southeast Asia. For a player from the Philippines to break into the upper echelons of the Women's Tennis Association is a monumental feat of perseverance. Until now, the only other Filipino to receive a seeding in the open era of a Grand Slam was the incredible Tree Huey, a doubles specialist who reached the Wimbledon semifinals and achieved a career-high doubles ranking of world number 18 back in 2016. Huey paved the way, proving that Filipinos could compete on the biggest stages. However, what Eala is doing right now in the brutally competitive, unforgiving arena of women's singles is entirely unprecedented. Earning the 29th seed at Wimbledon is not merely a personal milestone. It is a paradigm shift. It tells millions of young girls across the Philippines and Southeast Asia that the absolute highest levels of global tennis are not out of reach, that the manicured lawns of Wimbledon are a place where they, too, can belong. But this grand arrival did not happen overnight. The transition from being a wildly successful junior player, including her magnificent U.S. Open junior singles title, to becoming a seeded professional at a senior Grand Slam is notoriously difficult. It is a graveyard of unfulfilled potential for many prodigies. To understand her current dominance, we have to trace the evolution of her game, specifically her relationship with grass court tennis. Grass is universally acknowledged as the most complex, idiosyncratic surface in the sport. The season is incredibly short, giving players a microscopic window of time to adapt. The ball stays precariously low, skidding off the turf and robbing players of the time they usually have on hard courts or clay. Rallies are shorter. Movement requires incredibly delicate footwork to avoid slipping, and the premium on a dominant serve and early aggressive strikes is absolute. When Eala made her professional grass court debut in 2024 at Nottingham, she faced a steep learning curve, losing in the second round of qualifying. But true champions are defined by their adaptability. Instead of shying away from the surface, she meticulously retooled her game. The breakthrough on the green lawns began to materialize in 2025. Eala demonstrated that she was beginning to unlock the secrets of grass court tennis. She reached the quarterfinals of the Lexus Ilkley Open, qualified for the main draw at Nottingham, and then orchestrated a magical run at the Lexus Eastbourne Open, where she reached her first ever WTA Tour final. Although she narrowly lost that final in a heartbreaking third-set tiebreak to Australian Maya Joint, the message was sent. Eala was a natural on grass. Her 2025 season culminated in her main draw Wimbledon debut. While she suffered defeat at the hands of the incredibly experienced former champion Barbara Krejcikova, the experience of stepping out under the lights of the All-England club planted a seed of hunger that would blossom into her extraordinary 2026 campaign. And what a campaign 2026 has been so far. It has been nothing short of a masterclass in resilience and tactical execution. Let us thoroughly examine her run over the past few weeks, starting with the WTA 125 Lexus Birmingham Open. Eala arrived in England fully prepared, physically primed and mentally sharpened. She navigated a treacherous draw to reach the final, where she faced a formidable Czech player, Nikola Bartunkova. In a gripping three-set battle that tested every ounce of her stamina, Eala emerged victorious, winning 5-7, 6-3, 7-5. Claiming her first professional grass court title was a massive injection of confidence. It validated all the grueling hours spent adjusting her split steps, flattening out her forehand, and mastering the unpredictable bounces of the turf. But if Birmingham was a spark, the WTA 500 Berlin Tennis Open was the absolute inferno. Berlin attracts one of the strongest fields outside of a Grand Slam, serving as the ultimate litmus test for Wimbledon contenders. Eala was unfazed by the spotlight. After a strong opening, she found herself staring across the net at Eala Rybakina. Let us pause to contextualize this matchup. Eala Rybakina is not just any top-ranked player. She is a world number 2, a former Wimbledon champion who possesses arguably the most lethal, unreturnable serve in women's tennis. She is a towering figure whose flat ground strokes are tailor-made to tear opponents apart on grass courts. When the match began, the script seemed to be playing out exactly as the tennis world expected. Rybakina jumped to a commanding 4-1 lead in the first set. For a 21-year-old facing the world number 2 on her favorite surface, folding under the pressure would have been understandable. But this is where Eala proved she is cut from a different cloth. Down 4-1, Eala did not panic. She problem-solved. She began to neutralize Rybakina's overwhelming pace, using the speed of the grass to redirect the ball with punishing angles. She stepped inside the baseline, taking the ball astonishingly early to rob the former champion of her precious setup time. Eala unleashed a barrage of deeply placed ground strokes, forcing Rybakina into uncomfortable defensive positions. In a display of spectacular grit, Eala completely flipped the script, storming back to win the first set. The crowd at the Steffi Graf Stadium watched in disbelief as the young Filipina systematically dismantled the world number 2, closing out the match in straight sets. It was the biggest win of her career by ranking. The emotional gravity of the moment was palpable. Immediately after shaking hands, a tearful and overjoyed Eala remained on the court, picked up her phone, and made an urgent call to her father, sharing the triumph of the man who had been there since the very first practice session. The Women's Tennis Association official channels lit up, crowning her run the resurgence of the week. Eala proved that on any given day, on the fastest surface in the world, she has a firepower to beat the absolute best. Following the emotional high of Berlin, Eala transitioned to the Bad Homburg Open in Germany for her final Wimbledon tune-up. Here, she encountered a fascinating reality check, drawing the highly experienced world number 24, Elise Mertens of Belgium, in the opening round. Mertens, a seasoned veteran with phenomenal tennis IQ, utilized her tactical guile to defeat Eala in straight sets. While a loss right before a major tournament might seem alarming to the casual observer, seasoned tennis analysts recognized the hidden value in this result. Eala had played an immense amount of high-pressure tennis over the preceding weeks. The loss to Mertens serves multiple vital purposes. First, it acts as a pressure release valve, reminding Eala and her team that there are still areas to refine and that she cannot simply rely on momentum alone. Secondly, it provides a crucial window for physical recovery. Going deep in Bad Homburg could have resulted in extreme fatigue arriving at Wimbledon. Now, she has the time to rest her body, meticulously review the tactical tape, and arrive in London fresh, hungry, and entirely focused. Furthermore, Bad Homburg offered a storyline that feels almost like a Hollywood script. Eala entered the doubles draw, and her partner is none other than Venus Williams. Think about the profound symbolism of this pairing. Venus Williams is an icon, a trailblazer who redefined the sport, a 5-time Wimbledon singles champion and a 6-time Wimbledon doubles champion. For a 21-year-old preparing for her first seeded appearance at the All England Club, there is literally no human being on the planet who could offer more valuable mentorship than Venus. Sharing a court with her, observing her routines, listening to her tactical breakdowns of grass court positioning, and absorbing her legendary competitive aura is an experience money cannot buy. It is the passing of knowledge from tennis royalty to the next generation. The insights Eala gains from this partnership will undoubtedly fortify her mindset as she steps into the singles draw next week. The reaction to Eala's unprecedented ascent has been nothing short of explosive. The internet in the Philippines essentially broke when her seeding was officially confirmed. Social media platforms have been flooded with messages of support, not just from die-hard tennis fans, but from casual observers who recognize the historic nature of her achievement. Fellow professional athletes, politicians, and celebrities have publicly lauded her. Tennis pundits globally are circling her name on the draw, pointing out that an informed Alex Eala is the last person any top player wants to face in the early rounds. Her peers on the WTA Tour are fully aware of her capabilities. The locker room knows that she is no longer just a promising talent, but an established threat. When we analyze Eala's technical game as she heads into Wimbledon, it is clear why she is succeeding. Her forehand has become a weapon of mass destruction. On clay or hard courts, players have the luxury of standing back and winding up, but on grass, the swing path must be compact. Eala has mastered this shortened backswing, allowing her to generate immense pace without sacrificing timing. Her serve, while perhaps not the fastest on the tour, has become incredibly precise. She utilizes slice serves out wide to drag her opponents off the court, opening up the opposite flank for devastating winners. Most importantly, her movement has reached an elite level. Navigating a grass court is akin to playing tennis on ice. One false step leads to a catastrophic slip. Eala stays exceptionally low to the ground, utilizing small, rapid adjustment steps that allow her to maintain her balance and strike the ball with optimal power. Even when on the defensive, couple these physical attributes with a mental toughness forged through years of international competition, and you have the blueprint of a player built for the second week of a Grand Slam. As we wrap up this extensive deep dive, let's take a moment to absorb the sheer scale of the history that is unfolding before our very eyes. We are witnessing the metamorphosis of Alexandra Eala. She has evolved from a celebrated junior champion, carrying the massive weight of expectations from a sports-crazed nation, into a solidified, world-class professional who commands respect on the most hallowed courts in the world. Being named the 29th seed for the 2026 Wimbledon Championships is a watershed moment, not just for her individually, but for the entire sporting narrative of the Philippines and Southeast Asia. She has emphatically shattered the geographical boundaries of the sport, proving that world-class tennis talent can emerge, thrive, and dominate from any corner of the globe. The upcoming fortnight in London will test her in ways she has never been tested before. The pressure of being a seeded player means that the target is now squarely on her back. The media scrutiny will intensify. The crowds will be larger, and the expectations from her passionate fan base will reach a fever pitch. But if her magnificent grass court season has shown us anything, it is that Eala does not shrink under the spotlight. She absorbs the energy and elevates her game. Her journey through Birmingham, the unforgettable giant-slaying performance in Berlin against Elena Rybakina, the tactical lessons learned in Bad Homburg, and the invaluable mentorship from sharing a doubles court with Venus Williams have collectively forged a player who is entirely prepared for the moment. When the gates of the All-England Club open and Eala steps out onto the pristine lawns clad in traditional all-white, she will carry with her the dreams of millions. But more importantly, she carries the undeniable belief in her own immense capabilities. She is no longer just happy to be there. She is there to conquer, whether she navigates her way to the second week or faces unforeseen challenges. Her status as a trailblazer is already permanently cemented in the history books. We are watching the blossoming of a superstar, and the tennis world will be watching her every single swing with bated breath. Thank you so much for joining us for this comprehensive documentary-style analysis of Eala's historic grand arrival at Wimbledon. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with your fellow sports fans. I want to hear from all of you. How far do you think Eala will go in this year's Wimbledon? Drop your predictions and thoughts in the comments section below. Stay tuned to the channel, as we will be providing continuous, in-depth coverage of her matches and all the breaking storylines throughout the entire Wimbledon fortnight. Until next time, keep watching, keep cheering, and we will see you on the next deep dive.